Coming up next on Small Town Big Deal.
This is the SSV Oliver Hazard Perry, a very tall ship indeed.
Rodney and I are meeting up with this majestic vessel as she sails up the Delaware River to join the Sail Philadelphia Festival. And then,
the Ronald McDonald House has been such a tremendous blessing.
It's what God really wanted. Hey, you know what? I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to give you a hug. Ronald McDonald House is the world's greatest hug.
Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl.
And you know, Jan, most of the early small towns in America were supplied by tall ships that brought goods across the Atlantic.
Okay, so what do you mean exactly by a tall ship?
Well, you know, like the kind that Christopher Columbus captained.
Oh, you mean like Captain Hook and Blackbeard?
More like the Mayflower and the USS Constitution.
Like Jack Sparrow and the Black Pearl.
This is the SSV Oliver Hazard Perry, a very tall ship indeed.
Rodney and I are meeting up with this majestic vessel as she sails up the Delaware River to join the Sail Philadelphia Festival.
More about the festival in a bit, but first,
welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
We get to go aboard and experience this ship firsthand.
Guys, let go, let go, let go. You're fighting the sheets.
Oh, did we mention this ship's main purpose is to train young people? Yep, they get a crash course in the skills needed to sail this huge craft.
So when we have 18 professional crew on board, it's not really enough to sail the boat effectively. We rely on our trainees that come on board to actually be able to sail the boat. This is a big vessel and everything here is big and heavy, so we need many hands.
She's big, all right. Her center mast is over 13 stories tall.
It's the largest civilian sailing school vessel in the U.S., and her construction was completed in 2015.
The Oliver Hazard Perry is the first modern American square-rigged ship-rigged vessel. Ship-rigged means yards on all masts, 3 or more masts.
And with all the huge masts, it's safe to assume the term tall ship has been around forever.
But the phrase has only gradually come into use over the last century or so.
John Masefield wrote the poem Sea Fever, and in that poem he refrains periodically, "All I want is a tall ship and a star to steer her by."
Captain Miles has just reminded us through poetry of the romance many have with the sea and its great ships.
But it is war, not romance, that helped give this ship her name. The Oliver Hazard Perry is named after the British naval hero who sailed against the British in the War of 1812.
And while it looks like the ships of that period, it has modern radar and GPS gear, along with a couple of biodiesel engines, just in case the wind doesn't cooperate.
But most of the training is geared to use the wind, not the engines.
Even on a one-week trip with high school-age students, when the trainees leave the vessel, they'll be able to name every line on the boat, and we have over 200 lines.
Seriously?
Yes. We have 7 miles of running rigging.
Did Tucker just say 7 miles?
Now I understand why learning the ropes has a nautical origin.
But in addition to learning about sailing, it's the voyage of self-discovery that is the biggest takeaway.
There's a value, and that is people become mature in themselves when they are involved with the water, and particularly under sailboats. It's a growth for those people who have not been sort of outside themselves.
On this particular voyage is a group of really committed trainees. They're midshipman candidates who will soon be on their way to the Naval Academy at Annapolis.
I didn't really have that much money to go to college. Then I found out about the Naval Academy, and I know that I could become a doctor one day through the Naval Academy.
So that's your long-term goal?
Yes.
Chloe's voyage didn't begin with smooth sailing.
So at first when I was really seasick, I was like, I want to go home. I don't want to be on a ship. No way, no way.
Because you were really sick, huh?
I was really sick. I didn't want to get up. But after we went to Norfolk and we got to see all the really big battleships, it really affirmed my dream to join the Navy.
One thing Chloe and her mates have to do right away is overcome any fear of heights.
Yeah, they're 100 feet out, and they can't click into the safety harness until they get to the top.
So to be clear, while sailing is fun, this ship is not for pleasure cruising.
Nope, if you're gonna ride, you're gonna work.
Ready sheets, ready halyards.
Halyard, that's us, right?
I'm not sure.
Hands to the halyard? I'm not positive.
The hardest part? Learning a second language.
Where's Tucker?
On your head soles, set the head soles. Haul away your halyards, cast off the downhauls, tend your sheets. So we have things like the fore-topmast staysail, the main topsail, the crowjack, sheets and halyards. We have downhauls and lifts.
What? Man, this is hard.
Here, ready? And heave, and heave, and heave.
So as the sail got higher, it got heavier, and then it got really hard to pull.
And heave. All right, this is the part where we sweat it. Remember how we do that? Just like that. It's perfect. And then we're gonna sweat it, and you're gonna pull the slack. Ready? In, out, down. All right, now we're gonna do what's called a locking turn. Twist. Perfect. Put it over the top of the pin, and then pull tight. Perfect. Look what you did. We set that sail closest to us, the fore-topmast staysail.
You might think that the centuries-old and complex skills it takes to sail a tall ship are in danger of drifting away.
Well, not if this crew has anything to say about it.
I mean, it's being part of a team and part of a community. You are sailing with the same 18 professional crew for a couple months at a time, so you really get to know everyone really well. And the best part of all is we get to go sailing all day, every day.
When we come back, our blast from the past continues.
And we'll discover some curious landlubbers at Sail Philadelphia.
You're watching Small Town Big Deal.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
Our adventure aboard the Oliver Hazard Perry was coming to an end, but it couldn't have happened at a better place.
It was like 1,000 Philadelphians came out to greet us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're here to see the ships of Sail Philadelphia, a celebration of the city's maritime history.
Welcome to Philadelphia. When jackets old and weather be too old to roam about.
Sail Philadelphia features ships from the U.S. and overseas, but it's all coordinated through one organization, Tall Ships America.
Tiny ocean with a jolly roving tar.
These are not static museum exhibits. These are active sailing vessels. And all of them sail with the idea of preserving the skills and the traditions of our maritime heritage and sharing them with the public that comes aboard.
After we spent a day sailing on the Oliver Hazard Perry, we couldn't wait to climb aboard another of these impressive ships.
This time, Captain Donald Peacock gave us a personal tour and a history lesson aboard the Lynx.
We call Lynx an interpretation of a War of 1812 privateer, and Lynx's main purpose at the time of build in 1812 from Fells Point, Maryland, was to engage the British merchant fleet.
These privateers actually had a license to steal.
Jack Sparrow would love that.
For sure. They were private citizens given permission by the U.S. government to attack British ships, and whatever they could steal, they could keep.
Because of the unique design that young America introduced with these very stealth, very quick, maneuverable ships, we engaged with the British merchant fleet. And we were actually able to reduce the British merchant fleet to capitulation in 1815.
To keep up their speed, the Lynx used smaller, lighter cannons called carronades.
This is called bar shot, and this would go into the rigging to disable the ship. They weren't trying to sink it because they want the bounty that's on it. You're just trying to disable it. And then if you got into more personnel, then you would fire grape shot, which these are 1-ounce musket balls embedded into the fabric, and the fabric is soaked in oil. And so as it comes out of the gun, it burns the fabric and the musket balls go scatter. Not a pretty weapon.
We get a demonstration using a much friendlier projectile.
This is our black powder charge that we're gonna ram into the gun, and then we're gonna back it up with our wadding, and today we're featuring bagels.
So we're gonna fire a bagel at New Jersey. Don't they have enough over there?
Cover your ears, fire!
Whoa! Wow, that was loud.
Sadly, even these guns couldn't save the original Lynx. She was captured by the Brits when she ran out of wind during a battle in 1813.
She was looked at as one of the finest examples of an American privateer. And because there were no plans ever put on paper, the English sailed Lynx to Halifax, or her crew was put in prison, and then they took Lynx from Halifax to England, where they actually took her apart and drew her out.
Almost 200 years later, the builders of the current Lynx found those drawings and used them to plan this ship.
So in a way, the demise of the original Lynx is what made this new Lynx even possible.
When you make course changes, you make log entries. When Lynx was coming from the Pacific to the Atlantic in 2009, for 23 hours, there was not a log entry on Lynx. They averaged 9.5 knots under sail, and nobody had to touch the wheel. She stayed on course. Lynx responds like that. So you put her in her balance, and she'll stay there.
Wannabe sailors of all ages can sign up for educational experiences aboard the Lynx.
But it's not about teaching sailing, it's about giving them a portal to the past.
Free trade and sailors' rights! Fire!
After spending time on the Oliver Hazard Perry and the Lynx, we were starting to understand the importance of the Tall Ships America program. Men and women and young students come aboard to become better sailors, and in turn, they also become better people.
If you look at the great architectural achievements in our history, all design achievements, the ones that really sing out are the ones that combine grace and function in such a fabulous, successful way, and nothing does that better than tall ships.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
You know, on the show, we like to focus on small-town values, especially the one of taking care of your community and your neighbors.
Those values exist within the city limits of some really big towns, too.
And there's no better example of that than right here in this house in the middle of the city of brotherly love.
The Ronald McDonald House has been such a tremendous blessing because we're not from around here in Philadelphia, so when we had to transport my daughter from North New Jersey to here, you know, we didn't have anywhere to stay. This is Amaria. Say hi.
Natalie Gregory's daughter was born 3 months premature, weighing less than 1 pound, with a hole in her heart and chronic lung disease. But she is a fighter, gaining 16 pounds over the past year and growing stronger every day.
Natalie's found great strength and support at the Philadelphia Ronald McDonald House by connecting with other families who have children being treated at area hospitals.
Founded in 1974, this is the first Ronald McDonald House ever created and is the model for more than 330 houses throughout the globe. They support families of seriously ill children with comfort and hope.
Whether it's a short stay of just a few weeks to months or even a year, the goal of the organization is keeping families close.
When you find out that your child has a serious illness, everything stops. And so we try to build programming around supporting our siblings, supporting grandparents and caregivers and parents that are going through a rough time, and really try to anticipate what support they need. That's really what we're about, is keeping families together during the most difficult time in their lives.
But the demand is high. 4 out of 5 families that request to stay here while their child is being treated at an area hospital have to be turned down, and 90% of their funding must come from donations.
And then over to our left, we'll have a playroom.
That's why they launched the Room in Our Hearts campaign. This expansion will add 88 new bedrooms and allow them to grow from serving more than 800 families each year to an estimated 1,900 families, increasing available room nights from 16,000 to more than 40,000 per year.
It's what God really wanted. Hey, you know what? I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to give you a hug. Ronald McDonald House is the world's greatest hug.
Jimmy Murray is a co-founder of the Philadelphia Ronald McDonald House, and he's poured his whole heart into the work of the organization over the past 38 years.
Jimmy and the other founders wanted the Ronald McDonald House to feel like a home. Volunteers and staff provide a warm meal at night, breakfast in the morning, and packed lunches. They also welcome families, provide free transportation, and organize fun activities. Squeals of laughter. That's just what the doctor ordered. Whether it's a traveling science show, visits with animals, or games for the entire family, they try to offer something special for everyone.
And each night, a different group comes in, purchases, prepares, and serves a meal. Jan and I rolled up our sleeves to lend a hand as a local restaurant crew dished out delicious food they prepared for the evening.
We always want a cherry on top.
It's something that blesses the residents, but also touches the hearts of the volunteers.
It's good. You know, you talk to them, you know, you get to see them, and they appreciate it. And then you get to appreciate it too, because you don't get to see this a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you see it commercial on TV here or there, but you don't see it. You don't feel the effect.
The house couldn't operate without financial gifts or the gift of time so many people contribute. Over the course of a year, more than 310 people volunteer. About 1,200 guest chef meals are prepared, and more than 5,500 shuttle van trips transport families back and forth to local hospitals.
For the last 33 years, we've given them 2 vans every year. One says Sandy on the front, and one says Max on the front. And the volunteers drive them back and forth to the hospital, and it's just a great convenience for them. It's our way of giving back to here because of what they do for the families.
Thank you for doing that.
At just 3 weeks old, Mason Spencer was in end-stage renal failure, and his parents, Rich and Erica, found out he would eventually need a kidney transplant. As Mason has been going through treatments, the Ronald McDonald House has been a lifeline for the Spencers.
You're so separated when you're going to the hospital and traveling back and forth. This brought us back together as a family. You're getting a hot meal, like you're getting drinks, you're getting interaction with the other families. It was a time for us to actually sit and talk and laugh and bond, because over there it's a lot of sadness and a lot of scares, and it's just to get out of there and come here. Even though you're not at home, it just feels more natural.
And all we have to do is walk into the kitchen and see everyone sitting there, and we know why we're doing what we're doing, and it makes it all worth it.
So when you think of somebody at the Ronald McDonald House, just be silent. Listen to your heart. And you know what? Knock on the door to this house, and I'll open the door and open your heart.
Jan and I would like to thank our partners at Nationwide and their Specialty Care Services Division for bringing you this story of the very first Ronald McDonald House.
Nationwide is helping them with their expansion so that more families can be served, and they're inviting you to join them.
To make a donation, just go to the website on the screen.
That's PHILARMH.org/smalltownbigdeal.
If you make a donation of $50 or more, Nationwide will send you a signature Ronald McDonald House red and white striped scarf.
You can also donate to your local Ronald McDonald House by going to rmhc.org.
And remember, Nationwide is on your side.
We'll be right back.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Small Town Big Deal. We like to call this episode our Tall Ships and Big Hearts episode.
They certainly have big hearts at the Ronald McDonald House, and keeping those families together during such scary times touched my heart.
Yeah, mine too. And it was good to know that those tall ships are more than just majestic, but they're actually floating classrooms.
It was a cool history lesson seeing the cannon go off.
Cover your ears, fire!
Whoa!
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they're just using bagels today.
You know, we should have brought cream cheese.
I'm Rodney Miller.
I'm Jan Carl.
Join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America. You missed a spot.
What? I don't know about you, but I keep looking for Jack Sparrow. I think he's going to come around any corner, anytime.
Let's hope not.
Yes, because he would take over the ship, and who knows where we might go.
Bow, stern, forward, aft, or see. Bow, stern, aft, starboard. Wouldn't it have been easy just to say front, rear, left, and right?
This is a great fun fact right here. We have 2,016,000 Cheez-Its of sail area.
What?
Cheez-Its of sail area.
What's Cheez-It?
Oh, look at the...
A Cheez-It, like the little cracker.